Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Crystal and this is Books Forever After, where I sit on my floor and we talk about everything and all things books. So today we are talking about some book reviews of some recent reads that I have done, and I'm a little overdue with some videos, in particular the recent reads. So these ones are all the books that I read or DNF'd in the month of April. I decided to switch up my recent reads a little bit differently, which are essentially just all book reviews. And I wanted to structure them to where we limited them to 10, and I typically only read 8 to 10 books a month anyway. But I kind of wanted to do more than just a monthly wrap-up of just all the books I read in a month, and stats and that kind of thing, and save the stats for like a half year kind of a thing and yearly kind of thing. So yeah, it's a new way of doing these videos, so hopefully that works out. So all right, so I do have another recent reads video coming for you, coming soon, once I record it. So those will be done as well. So I've typically been trying to do these recent reads a little more structured because I wanted to ensure that I actually gathered my thoughts and structured them in a way, in a summary that I have done and posted on Goodreads. Some of these they weren't memorable, so in some shape or forms I didn't, but I'm just working on trying to do more actual reviews on Goodreads and Amazon and so forth, so instead of just putting a star rating. Alright, so first things first, we'll go through the DNFs. I had 4 DNFs recently. The first one was switched. Yeah, and these ones are all from April. So I have 4 DNFs. First one is Switched. It's book 1 of the trilogy. I picked up these books in at a library bookstore, and it had the whole trilogy there, so it was great. I think I only spent at most $6 for all 3 of them, which I just love library book sales for that fact. However, I DNF'd the first one, and it was in part of my book unhaul, so I don't have a copy of the books anymore. And that's the reason why I got rid of them. So I started reading it thinking it'd be a great like fae, I guess trill. It's like a troll, fae troll or something, where it's the premise is basically a changeling story, and I just couldn't connect with the writing. It was very, very, very painful. I don't even think I made it to like chapter 2. That's how bad it was. I don't even have it as my Goodreads as a review because I didn't even read enough of it. I typically want to read to at least chapter 5 to consider like a DNF, so I didn't even get far enough in it. So no rating for that one, just DNF'd. The next one I read was The English Duke by Karen Rainey. This one was one of my TBR challenges for my historical romance that I drew that month, and I think I got to like chapter 5 and I decided to DNF. This one I thought I would like, but I think this also kind of stands to the fact that for historical romances, even though they're standalones, this is why I always feel like I need to start at the start of a series, because this is Duke trilogy number 2 in this series, and it was going to be it was a pining her. She's been pining for him, or secretly liked him, or something like that. And he was her father's colleague, and her father passed away. He's an inventor, and she had to bequeath his last experiment or whatever to Jordan. I think is the prototype to Jordan, and it just didn't, I don't know, I think part of it was the way that the male character was talking about the female character in it, and it's like, I don't know, I just couldn't believe in the story, in the premise and the writing, and it just did not draw me in, and I was starting to slag and not really enjoy reading it, so I did not read it, and I DNF'd it, and I also unhauled it. So that is what it is. I may try Karen Rainey again. If you do have a book by her that you would recommend me that I would like, I do like second chance romances, governess, marriage and troubles, forced proximity, those such novels. So if you have a novel by her that you would like to recommend me, just go ahead and put your recommendation down in comments below. Next one I read was The Vow, and I DNF'd this one. This is book 2 in the Club Indulgence series by Maggie Cole. I read the first one, I think back in March, and it was, I think it's called The Auction, and it was fine. I think I rated it a 3, and I was really lucky enough to get a copy of these and signed by the author there, which is really cool. I won this in an Instagram PR giveaway. She had some extra PR big boxes, and I won the giveaway, which was like my first giveaway ever. So I don't know if I've tried another one by her, which I forget what it was called. I think it's Toxic or something like that. And that one's what people recommend because it's more mafia, because the hero in this one, he became too much in the second book. It was just way too alpha hole, and not in a good way at all. Very, very annoying. And just it felt like it was coming in left field, all the possessiveness and just aggressiveness of the male character. And the heroine didn't exactly win me over enough to even want to continue. So I don't know if I will continue on with this duet. I'm still very, very incredibly grateful for receiving a copy, and I will probably keep these duets just because my first giveaway and it's signed by the author. So I'm hoping that I will find a book by this author that I will like, but unfortunately at this time I haven't. And if you have a recommendation of this author that you think I would like, let me know. I did try Toxic and I did not. I think I didn't have that one as well, so we'll see. I'm just thinking maybe this author may not be for me, but which is unfortunate, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we see. Okay, and then next I read, because English Duke I didn't have progress with it. I think I actually did this as part of a book shopping vlog or bookstore vlog. I don't know, one of my vlogs that I did. Yeah, I think my most recent vlog. I can kind of put it in the cards up here if I remember to put it down there. I got this, it's called Dare to Love a Duke by Ava Lee, and I saw this at the library and I checked it out. And again, I think this is why I usually read books in order, because this is book 3 in the London Underground series. And it had I read the back of it, and it had like a secret sex club / mass parties, basically orgy parties apparently. So I don't know, I felt like this club's called the Orchid Club, and it's the romance between the proprietress and a duke. But I don't know, I really didn't get far enough to even know if I would like it. If I read more in the story, it has a 3.73 on Goodreads, but so that to me that's okay, but not the greatest. Usually I like to read books at 4 stars, but try to give it a chance in my first time reading this author, but I might try something else. Again, if you have a recommendation for me, let me know. But yeah, it had the book in a series syndrome, where you kind of had to read even though it's a standalone, it didn't support itself on its own. You felt like you're coming in the middle of the story, so you kind of, especially not having any background or context when it was referencing things. So to me that means it's not really standalone on its own. You have to kind of read in the series if you can't read it on its own without having the context. So which is a bummer, but yeah. Next I read, so those are all the DNFs. So next I read book 2 in American Queen, American Prince by Sarah Simone. I loved the first one. It's a 5-star read. This is a Arthurian legend retelling set in, modern times. And this is basically like a love story or romance that kind of develops over each book. Over the first one, it kind of evolves there. It's between the president, the vice president, and the first lady. The first book really is, majority of the time, they're not married yet, but it's like their love story and how they all three, the love story with her and how they came to be. This one kind of focuses on the backstory between the two male characters, which you kind of get a little bit of, you hear a little bit of it in the first one, so you actually hear and see more about it. The third one, American King, is kind of, I think you're kind of caught up with all the flashbacks that I'm aware of, and the story has kind of shifted and so we'll see how that goes. Way over explaining this, but I'm interested to see how this is going to pan out. I checked both of these out of the Libby app from my library, and this is like a 20 weeks wait. I meant to just manage the hold and delay it, but I accidentally accepted it, and then when I went to try to return it and then check it out again, it's 22 weeks wait again. So yeah, so it's just, I'll eventually read it, but it's just one of those things that are just so frustrating with library, because it's not Kindle Unlimited that I'm aware of. So yeah. All right, the next one I read was Daughter of the Siren Queen, book 2. This was a duet, but I believe it's now being turned into a third one. And I think the third one's called Vengeance of the Siren Queen, which I think is a spin-off of these first two. So Daughter of the Siren Queen is book 2 of the first book, which was Daughter of the Pirate King. This is a YA fantasy. It could be historical fiction and a little bit of romance in there as well. This was a really fast read. I think I gave this series a 4 stars. I did own these as well physically, but I unhold them because I don't think I'm going to read them. I do like this author, Trisha Levenseller, but it read very fast paced, but it also read very young YA. I just don't know if I'm a fan of that to where I want to buy the book. So I don't know if I will continue on and read the third one. I don't know if I really have any interest, unfortunately. But yeah, so I think that's just, so that is what it is right there. So yeah, it was fun. It's just, I don't see myself reading it again. Next, I read A Reckless Match by Kate Bateman. This was part of one of my historical authors TBR that I drew. I read the first one, which is the first one right here. This is the first one in the Ruthless Survival series. This follows, let me see where I have my review here. Okay. So this follows the hero and heroine who are from rival families. They're the English Montgomerys and the Welsh Davies. And each year a representative of each family has to meet at a bridge at a certain day, at a certain time, at a meeting place of a bridge of each of their lands. And if one of them doesn't show up, then the other family, that family that doesn't show up, forfeits the land. And this was enacted a while back, years ago, by a treaty by the king when, generations ago, just because I think of the family rivalry or whatever. So it was kind of that dictated by the king kind of a thing there. And then, so these two characters, while they are exploring exploring, because the heroine is a blue-stocking heroine. I believe she is a archaeologist or something like that. And So they discover a hidden cave path, and that kind of leads into some shenanigans with some smugglers in this cave system. So this was a really cute, fast-paced book. I really enjoyed it, and it was my first book that I read by this author. The only reason this one wasn't a 5-star for me was I felt that the suspense and the bonkers plot kind of overshadowed the romance aspect and the relationship between the two characters. So it was more plot heavy, and it didn't really focus on the romance as the plot. So you that really took away the enjoyment for me. The tropes in here are enemies to lovers, which is, rivals to lovers, and this one specifically, childhood rivals to lovers, childhood crush, forced proximity, a blue stocking heroine, and there is some really good pining in here. They each kind of secretly have pined over here, and that's I did enjoy that aspect in this one as well. So 4 stars for me on this one. And next one, I read A Daring Pursuit in book 2 by this author. I did not get a chance to read book 3 yet in this series. I think it's actually just a trilogy at this time. And this one, I gave a 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, especially over the first one. This follows Carrie Davies, which is the sister of the hero, or the first one, and then Tristan, who is the brother of the heroine of the first one. So it's kind of like they're both brother or sister, not brother sister, but they each are dating the other person's brother or sister, kind of a thing. Best friends, brother sister, whatever I call it. Well, I'm really not explaining that very well. Disregard me. So Carrie has a reputation. So Carrie has a reputation of scandalizing the ton and everything with her outfits and things like that. And it's her way to kind of, I guess, deter potential suitors. But Tristan is kind of like it's kind of like a hate to love relationship, but Tristan never kind of bought her act and that kind of a thing, and we kind of find out later why, because of her reputation of something where she actually is completely innocent and that kind of thing. So suspense in this plot, in the second part of this book, but I think what I really enjoyed even more was the banter, because there was more interaction between the two characters, so that really was really enjoyable for me. I think I laughed out loud a few times on here, so anytime there's great banter, and even if it's a little more plot heavy, great banter is always an indication where the author is also balancing out the plot and the romance at the same time. So I found that to be really enjoyable for me. Alright, so next I read Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. I rated this a 3-star. This one has, this is taboo, forbidden. It has a 10-year age gap. It's student-teacher. It has a music piano aspect, and BDSM. So there are some trigger warnings for this one as well. There's SA, abuse, animal abuse, death, and of course BDSM as well, but it's just as a warning in case. This one I was kind of disappointed because I thought I would like it. I did really love Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin, and I heard that she's a very dark romance author where she will really take you down into the dark depths of where it feels real, almost like that kind of very emotional aspect. So this one is a dark, erotic, contemporary romance. It follows Ivy, who is from a poor, abusive family. Her father, before he died, was able to pay for her to attend a prestigious, I can't say that word, music school, and then she quickly gets involved with her music teacher. I initially thought that this was a a college music teacher, forbidden, taboo, forbidden, No, this was high school. Like this academy is like a private school, like high school level of thing here. So I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I was drawn to the book because of the music and the piano aspect. It kind of gave me a little bit of like Piano in the Dark. You know that song? He plays piano in the dark. You know, that kind of music. So, I forget the name. I think it's Brenda something. And, you know, and I like the forbidden aspect of a student-teacher relationship, but this one just didn't work for me, and I don't know if I read one that has worked for me for the student-teacher relationship. Student-teacher and not high school. And that gave me the X. With that said, I can see how some could enjoy the emotional aspect of this one. I could see how some people could enjoy the emotional aspect of this one, but for me it was just too ick. Just too ick. I was not a fan of Emmerich, and I just felt like he manipulated Ivy into a relationship, and I felt like she was definitely not ready or emotionally ready romantic relationship, especially the sexual one. I can understand how some would believe that the BDM aspect was also a healing way for Ivy to deal with her trauma, sure, but she was 17 through most of this book. Now in her state it was legal for her to have a relationship with an adult, but to me she was still a child and not emotionally developed enough for a relationship, and age gap can work for me, but not when even the heroine is emotionally immature and doesn't, even some like below her age, you know, even immature more than her age. So I don't know, it did not work for me and gave me the X because of that, which kind of that blocked me from, that was a major flag or block for me to really enjoy the book. And I also didn't really feel like Emma gave her any other option, especially because she was struggling financially, and because of her safety as her home life as well. She was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place and really more desperate for shelter and someone to really care. So I don't think because of that, it didn't feel romantic to me because of that. Yeah, there really wasn't really much growth because I don't know, it just gave me way too many icks to enjoy this. And now I'm kind of apprehensive to try another book by this author. I just don't know if the dark romance aspect or the taboo romance aspect is done in a way for me that isn't triggering. And I don't even and that's kind of strange because typically I enjoy dark romance and it usually isn't triggering for me, but I don't know the way the author writes it. I just don't know for me if it feels like it's balanced enough between the dark and the romance, if that makes sense. And so I gave that one a 3-star. I was really, really toying and still struggling if I even want to rate that a 3 or a 2, but I think I'll just leave it as a 3 because I don't know if it's really, I think it just might be me kind of thing. But yeah. And then finally the last one I read was The Magic of You. This is book 4 in the Mallory Anderson series. I am reading this is a 12-book series, and I am reading this as a read-along with April from Happily Ever April. We've been reading a book a month in this series, and I think we both did not like this one. I think I rated this a 3. I liked it, but I didn't. So it was fun, had fun banter. This one has another kind of like family aspect, very similar to like Bridgerton. However, and there's a lot of good banter because of that. However, this one seemed to focus more on the family dynamics and kind of the outside looking in. So you're kind of just observing it from like the family members instead of actually understanding why these two are together and what has drawn them. So yeah, so this was following Warren Anderson and Amy Mallory. She has always pined for him, and Warren is kind of one of those broody heroes who was wronged before, and he's just trying to like resist her. She's very like we're meant to be kind of a thing, and it's like she came on very, very strong. So strong. It wasn't as fun as like Gentle Rogue, for instance. So Gentle Rogue was the third one, and that one is like a 5-star, and that one is just like a beloved one for a reason. So yeah, I really didn't enjoy that one, and I don't know, I'm hoping the next ones are great. I know this one that we're going to be reading here soon, for June, is a Christmas one, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, and that is it. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you would like. I do have my links to my Goodreads and Instagram down below, as well as my Amazon wishlist. If you would like to keep up with my progress in real time, Instagram stories I'm pretty active on the Instagram stories if you want to keep track of me there, or on Goodreads. I'll have that link down below. If you don't feel like commenting anything else, please go ahead and leave a book stack emoji. I will talk to you soon. Bye.